All right, this video blog is going to be on writing tough. What I mean is not writing like you're angry, not writing with harsh language, but writing characters being tough and what does that mean. And something happened when I was on a panel at Dragon Con, and it was writing female characters. And I remember there's a couple of things that made me think of this blog. But one of them was this experience where the woman on the panel was making comments about how easy it was to write male characters in terms of their toughness, how they solve problems. And I said, that's, real easy if that's the way you think males have to behave. But in reality, there's varieties of toughness in real life. But it just so happens that we think most of the time that men have to solve problems with their hands physically in order to be men. And that is something that is a stereotype that for me isn't fitting, because I came to grips with learning that men don't have to be physically tough, or not physically tough, but physically solve their problems with physical toughness, right? Or solve their problems physically. That's the best way to say it. Because you can be physical, but you don't have to use them to solve your problems, and you don't have to, punch somebody if somebody hits you. Thinking of Serena Williams having her conflict with the referee in the U.S. Open 2018 finals between her and Naomi Osaka, and she spoke real harsh. She got real aggressive, and I was, telling my wife that, as a black man, when I was in my classroom teaching, I wasn't able to do that. Many black men, they can't express their frustrations even verbally like that, regardless of physical. Nobody can get physical, you know what I'm saying? But even in schools, when I was talking to kids, I never cursed, but I would talk loud and stern, and I would get complaints. Some of the kids would be like, "Yo, Mr. Carroll, scaring us." And when I first started teaching, so that's and again, when you're talking about, how do you express your frustration? How do you express rage? I'm not one that breaks things. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one that's going to break my racket because I ain't had extra money to be knocking furniture over in the house, breaking my cell phone, breaking a racket. No, I don't have time for that. I'm a little bit more cerebral and even controlled in my frustration, which every black dude in corporate America has to be. So again, we have one posture outside, right? We have, this, you mess with me, I'm going to handle it. You know what I'm saying? What you say, son? I'm getting physical with you. You know what I'm saying? Or you hit me, I'm like, pow, I'm hitting you back. And that's one thing, but then there's also the reality that you can't do that, and you have to control that. So I had a friend who said that, he was concerned about raising his son. And all of this is going to go back to writing. So I'm going to just go through all of these real world stories, because our characters have to be real to us. So we need to think about the real world and the images in the real world, and how people will identify and connect with our characters, whether it's film, book, comic book, you name it, even if it's a play. I've been leaving out plays, but Broadway plays, however that is, you need to give a reflection of what is real. So my friend, was saying that, he's glad he could still, wrestle his son down and still be able to physically dominate his son, because he wants his son to still have respect for him. Now, mind you, this is some real stuff here. And I'm like, damn, dude is feeling it. Dude is telling us, from the heart, this is what he feels he has to do. And mind you, my father was somebody that I have the utmost respect for. You understand? My father is everything. And if you know me, you know that it's not even a question. It is what it is, So this is crazy. I'm going through the drive-through, but I gotta get something for my son. But the other thing is, my father was not a physical man. He was physical in his size, but he wasn't muscular. I think I'm probably in my fat stage, probably more muscular than my father. I can still do, 8 pull-ups or 10 pull-ups. I can still do 25 push-ups, maybe 30 or 40 if, I'm practicing for a couple of weeks. I can get up to 50, I'm still there, and if that's any measure of a man, I'm still in shape, right? But my father, at this age, I'm 51, even at 40, he wasn't somebody who was a physical threat, right? My father was more known for reading. My father was known for drawing. He was an illustrator, right? So he wasn't somebody that I remember, I'm gonna tell my father. I had friends, Sean, his father was owned a auto body shop. His father was like crazy big, for us, and I remember, you didn't want to mess with Sean. I didn't have no problem, but that his father was a factor. And I remember my father not being no factor at all. It was so bad that I didn't want him to get into a conflict, because there's still an element of coolness that you have to exhibit in a fight, and I felt my father wouldn't even fit that element. And so I remember I used to just think, I don't want to get in a fight. I don't want to have my father to come in here. So I might have to protect my father from these, whoever's bothering me. That's a heavy burden, but some people, don't even have fathers around. So how do they even do it? So, but I say all of that to say, right, that even though my father wasn't, he could beat me probably until I got older, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't no classy fighting. It wasn't no Muhammad Ali, no Sugar Ray Leonard. When you beat somebody, you want to look nice. You want to look pretty. You're like, pow, pow. When I keep my son away, I'm still looking good, I ain't sweating and, he don't have me like that yet. But he may get me, you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about toughness, that there's that coolness element to it. There's that ability to solve your problems physically. That brings. So when you're writing coolness, you have to fit that stereotype, or else your character may be perceived something else, right? So I remember when I wrote my first full-out book that was never a movie, was never a screenplay, nothing like that, Thug Angel. And I modeled him after Man on Fire, Taken, those two strong, don't mess with nobody pictures, right? And he was still not a physically threatening, visually physically threatening person. He didn't talk hard. He didn't walk hard. He didn't even solve his problems hard. And I just want to offer that to people when they're writing, toughness, whether it's male or female, because one of the things about female toughness is they are allowed to be mental. Hold on, y'all. So yeah, I just want people to be mindful of that even male masculinity or male toughness varies. And when you're writing, your characters, keep that in mind. And also, for people out here, like I said, I tell my friend all the time, I'm gonna tag him in this, right? My father couldn't beat me by the time I grew up, but that didn't stop me from respecting him. He was no physical threat in the community. My father, if you ask people in my neighborhood, they're going to say my father was the nicest guy you know. But that didn't mean they didn't have respect for him. That didn't mean they would come and try to rob my house either. Shoot, you don't have to be tough to have a gun. I don't think guns was invented by people that could beat you up. Guns was invented by people that were scared. Now we have guns because other people have guns. But in reality, people didn't need a gun if you could fight. You don't need no gun. What you need a gun for? Now you need a gun because other people have guns. But yes, so I think that elements of writing toughness come down to accepting the variety of toughness. To me, what toughness is the willingness to respond. When I think of tough, I think, I'm thinking Marcus Garvey. I'm thinking Malcolm X. I'm thinking Martin Luther King was no punk. Because again, these guys might have been fighting even bigger bullies or gladiators than somebody twice their size. Hell, that's one person. That's a physical confrontation. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are taking on government powers. To me, that's tough. To be able to say, I'm not even going to hit you back. We're going to march. We're going to do whatever. Malcolm X is like, I'm speaking truth to power. I don't care who it offends. You understand what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey is like, I'm organizing. You know what I'm saying? When I think of toughness, Harriet Tubman, going back, to me, that's like, she like the most toughest American ever in the history of America. She's like the most toughest American. I mean, we have revolutionaries in the Caribbean. We have revolutionaries in Africa, Yaa Asantewaa, Queen Nzinga, and many others. But, in American history, Harriet Tubman, that's beyond, my imagination now. I would probably do that if I had a child. My wife was in slavery and I was happening to get out of slavery. I would go back to get them, my mother and father. I would tell my wife, I'd be like, my moms and father, they still in slavery. I got to figure out how to get them out. I got to do that, right? But to go back and be like, there's still more of our people back there. I'm committed, but I still got to raise my family. Harriet was doing that with her friends and family. It must have been real easy to her. Again, I didn't come from slavery, so I don't know the scars that she had on her back. You understand? And what she went through. And maybe it felt good. I always say that, she never lived long enough to boast about the white people that she might have had to kill along the way. So maybe she was killing people on the way, and that was giving her some form of reparations. But to me, just in the 2018 mentality, that's incredibly tough and strong. And yet she probably didn't talk like they talk on TV. Like, I'm watching The Chi. I'm going to end with this, right? I'm watching The Chi, and I'm at I'm pretty deep now. For season 1, I'm like episode 8 or 9. But the funny thing that I was laughing at in the beginning is all these people talk so tough. This one dude in the gang, he's in the hot tub. He's like threatening everybody. And next thing you know, old dude comes back in town, the old school gangster, and dude's boss is now bowing down to this old school gangster, and then he's getting pistol whipped by his gangster. So you got this street drug dealer, talking mad, wild, extra, unbelievably tough, like he don't bow down to nobody. You know how street thugs talk. And then the next minute he's talking like a punk. He's crying, he's wimping out, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know it's real. I just never imagined that, So anyway, this whole blog, I know I rambled a lot, but my whole point is just that we have different expressions of manhood. We have different expressions, and respect doesn't just come from your physical toughness. Come on. Are you serious? Yo. All right. So anyway, peace. I'll talk to you later.